I hate to say it, but we got to stop talking about Terence Crawford and Canelo for a bit. I think that performance personally gave me a little bit of like, maybe he might have a difficult time at 54, but there's also a part of me that's like, it could have been the style as well. A lot of me thinks it's the style as well. I still want Terence Crawford to get that big payday opportunity. Now that he's really like talked about it so much, he's hyped it up to the point where it's like, all right, you were doing all that, you know, talking, let's see if you still want it after his first fight at 54. And I think he'd still be open to it. I think a lot of it, like I said, you know, a few seconds ago, it's about styles, and Terence Crawford is a very talented fighter, and that fight makes a lot of money regardless. But Turki Alashek, he also said that he's not really intending on making it anymore. Maybe he thinks that, you know, Crawford isn't as competitive with Canelo, and I think that fight did surprise me for sure. I'm not really so surprised by Madrimov because I kind of knew a decent amount about how he fights. I saw him, you know, on the arrivals there. I had to pick up a media credential to go to the press conference and the weigh-in and all that stuff for fight week in LA, and I saw him at the fighter hotel, and I was like, dang, this guy's big. And I was walking by and I told him good luck, and he just gave me that, you know, that thank you, and he was like, he was ready though, and I was like, ooh. You know, that energy was like, let's see what Bud does. And sure enough, it was a very competitive fight. I said it in other videos that I think Terence Crawford lost that fight, but I think it was like so close to the point where it's just my opinion that he lost that fight to Madrimov, because it was a very close fight. I just thought, you know, he landed a lot of clean shots, and Terence did too. I just thought Madrimov more so dictated the pace, and Crawford was forced to fight Madrimov's fight, and that's why he had a lot of difficulty getting on the inside with this guy, trading shots and getting his combinations off, because Madrimov was very awkward, and I gave him a lot of credit for that. You know, the last rounds, Terence Crawford definitely bagged them, so that's a big reason why I'm not like astonished by the decision. I think, you know, on a lot of people's scorecards, it could have been all over the place. So, you know, that was one of the fights that makes you think like, man, I don't want to be a judge for this sport, because sometimes, like, just because you're watching Terence Crawford and you're not seeing him dominate as much, sometimes you tend to give those rounds to Madrimov, and maybe I was victim to that, or maybe I was guilty of that, and I couldn't, you know, fathom the fact that he wasn't able to get in on the inside. But, you know, this is also a different weight class that Terence Crawford is adjusting to, and it was visible that the size and strength of Madrimov played a factor, and not only that, but the rhythm, the bouncing of, you know, Madrimov, that rhythm was difficult for Crawford to really read in the beginning. It was awkward. He's an awkward fighter, a difficult fighter to read, because when you're doing all this bouncing, and you're a strong guy, it's different than, as opposed to, you know, a guy like Spence, who's a straightforward target, you know, doesn't use a lot of footwork, or he doesn't feint a lot. He's more so, you know, the work rate fighter. And even though Madrimov didn't throw many shots, he was very effective with his movement. He made it very difficult for Terence Crawford to, you know, get on the inside and get his combinations off. That's what I appreciated from Madrimov, and that's why I thought he won the fight, you know, based on those rounds that he was able to dominate. But those, like I said before, the championship rounds, Crawford definitely bagged those. That's why I wouldn't call it a robbery. You know, it could have gone either way, but I saw Madrimov win that fight, in my opinion. Or it could have been a draw. I wouldn't have been mad at a draw, but I think they're going to do it again because it was so competitive. You know, anybody that says like Crawford definitely dominated, you know, maybe that's in your eyes, but for me, I didn't see that. That's not the fight that I saw. And, you know, as good as Crawford is, he did his thing. He got the job done, but it was a, you know, competitive fight that made me kind of rethink this Canelo, this potential fight with Canelo. And, you know, a lot of people are going to have things to say about that perspective, but even Bomac, Terence's trainer, was talking about, yeah, it's probably going to be different and difficult for Terence to deal with a guy like Canelo, because he's much bigger than Madrimov, and Madrimov looked much bigger than Crawford just at 54. So you're talking about not only going up to 60 from there, which is a jump already, but going to 68. And I'm not sure I like that fight for Terence Crawford. It's, you know, it's a big fight, it's a big money fight, and like I'd like to see it, but I don't love it if you're Terence Crawford's, you know, management team, you're his advisors. It's just a very risky fight as well. But, you know, if he's daring to be great, you know, why not take that Canelo fight if you're Terence Crawford? Because he's gonna make a lot of money, win, lose, or draw, and he has nothing to lose, because at the end of the day, he's already accomplished so much in the sport. He's a certified and first ballot Hall of Famer already. So I think the Canelo fight is just a money play, in my opinion. You know, he's daring to be great and fighting another big name in the sport of boxing, the cash cow of the sport. So what could he really ask for? And Canelo even said that Terence Crawford lost to Madrimov. He also saw that. And I'm not a Terence Crawford hater. I picked Terence Crawford to win this fight, but I just didn't think he won. Just based on my judgment of the fight, my assessment, I thought that Terence Crawford, he landed shots, but I thought Madrimov was more dictating the pace and landed that right hand at will, and, you know, hurt Bud a few times, got his attention. And I just thought that was the story of the fight. That's a lot of what I saw. I saw Terence Crawford having a hard time getting on the inside and getting his combinations off. That's why I gave the fight to Madrimov. But hey, the judges gave it to Terence Crawford, and they have the final say at the end of the day. So Crawford definitely winning those late rounds, and maybe that's what got him the decision. And yeah, I think Madrimov also made a big mistake in a place where, you know that they're trying to make a lot of money off of Crawford nowadays, because, you know, who knows how many fights he has left in him. So they're trying to capitalize on that, you know, superstar that they still have in Terence Bud Crawford. But if you guys watch the weigh-ins, and I was there, and I thought it was interesting to, you know, Terence Crawford was talking about, you know, the fight and how competitive it would be, and then Madrimov said that, you know, I just hope the judges are fair. And I was like, you know, interesting. He's already, you know, calling that it could be a controversial decision, because he was saying that in the press conference. He was saying that he hopes it's a fair decision, that the judges are fair there. And sure enough, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, you know, Terence Crawford lost that fight, but they gave it to him. And, you know, that's just my opinion. That's just how I saw the fight. If anything, Terence Crawford won, but he didn't dominate, you know. I don't care what people say. He didn't dominate that fight, and it wasn't his best performance. That might have been his toughest test, you know, but it's at 154 when Terence Crawford's probably, you know, best at 47. He said he has a difficult time making 47. Everybody has a difficult time, but that doesn't mean that it's not Terence's, you know, best performance in terms of when it comes to weight class. I think 47 is where he's the most efficient. But it's also, you know, about the person that's in front of you. He could have fought somebody at 54 and then gotten them out of there. If he fought a guy like Xander Zayas, he probably, you know, stops him and then moves on. But this was a big, strong 54-pounder. So, you know, a lot of credit to Madrimov for the fight that he fought. I think he impressed a lot of people that weren't aware of what he had. And I already knew he was a great fighter, but, you know, the movement, it really showed to be the story of the fight, in my opinion. That rhythm and being able to kind of almost shut Terence Crawford's eye at the end of the fight was impressive to me. I thought that Terence Crawford didn't really hurt Madrimov, but Madrimov probably hurt, you know, buzzed and hurt Terence Crawford a little bit in that fight. Terence, you know, seemed fine after the fight, is excited to go back to his family, recuperate, enjoy the win that he got, enjoy his victory as he should. But in terms of that Canelo Alvarez talk, I think even for me, someone that was an advocate for it, makes me second guess it and think a little harder on it, because even though it is a lot of money, but at the same time, you know, seeing Crawford look so small in there at 54, jumping up to 60 and then 68 to fight Canelo, I can't imagine how much bigger Canelo would be in that fight. So, you know, still Terence Crawford, I think, competes well, but it's just the size. It really does matter. It does play a factor in this, you know, particular matchup. So in terms of Canelo and Terence Crawford, I say put it on the back burner for now. Maybe in a year, if Terence Crawford's still doing this in a year, but I'm not sure about it right now. Obviously, Canelo started his media tour with Berlanga. He was in New York yesterday. Now he's gonna be in LA. Maybe it already happened by the time you guys are watching this, but you know, Canelo and Berlanga, not the fight we asked for. I'd love to see Canelo and Terence Crawford, because it's two big names. You know, that's must-see TV, especially if we can't get Benavidez and Canelo. That's the fight I want to see. I want to see Terence Crawford and Canelo go at it. Or, you know, if let's say Canelo gets past you know, Berlanga, which we all expect him to by stoppage, vicious stoppage. Let's say, you know, Berlanga accepts a Terence Crawford fight. You know, if Terence wins that, maybe he gets himself in you know, position to make that fight happen. But I think it's definitely a riskier fight, in my opinion, after seeing Madrimov, how big he was in there with Terence Crawford and how effective he was landing that right hand at will. And I think, you know, Canelo, as good as he is, even at, you know, the age he's at, how much experience he has, I know that you guys are going to talk about, you know, they're the same age, this and that, but Canelo has a lot of wear and tear on him. He's been doing this for so long. So Terence Crawford and Canelo, I say put it on the back burner for now. But let me know in the comments if you guys agree or disagree that Canelo and Terence should, you know, be put in the future a little bit if it does happen. Because after that fight with Terence Crawford and Madrimov, I thought it was a very competitive fight in Terence Crawford's debut at 154. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace. That's going to do it for another Naz Fight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.